Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would do a video on tips and tricks for being on GLP-1. These are things that I've learned along the way. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, I'm down to about 65 pounds, a little more than 65 pounds. I've been on a GLP-1 now for 45 weeks tomorrow, technically, since November of 2022, and it's currently September 10th, 2023. The other thing, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, I specifically had hormonal weight gain, meaning I'm in perimenopause. So I had a bunch of stuff happen over the course of 2.5 years, including gaining 43 pounds that was not my normal. So I am coming from the perspective of hormonal weight gain versus like another one, right? So just for what it's worth, that's my perspective and that's what I'm gonna give. In no particular order, I've been keeping kind of a little bit of a list of things that I feel like have been really helpful as I've run into speed bumps or things that I realize like, oh, I can't be the only one. You know, start with the most like, don't expect it to do all the work. It is not actual magic. It is a tool. Granted, it is a new tool and it's one that definitely does different stuff for people. The thing that I really think with this, especially with how like it's portrayed in the media, is it's this sort of cheat. And I don't think it is at all. Now, again, my experience has been hormonal. So I've been plummeted on this exclusively because I've been on it. I've definitely had weeks where I've dropped significantly. I honestly can't think of a week where it wasn't because of just the shot. I was definitely doing other things, and I can get into that. I also have a ton of videos up about this topic. So if you're interested in my journey, I literally document every 8 weeks on it. I do the conclusion of like that round. I'll link the series and I'll link specific videos as I talk about them. So another thing I think I hear a lot about is in diet culture in general, you get a lot of like hacks, how to still have this or whatever, right? And like, obviously you need to figure out what floats your boat and like what's worth, like moderation is key and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying anything extreme or anything you haven't heard before, but I do think one of the really wonderful things about this being a tool is that you can use it to help you build a healthier lifestyle or eliminate maybe behaviors you don't really want to keep anymore. You can use it to your advantage. So for example, I've used it to dial in new patterns and new routines. Because my weight was hormonal, learning about what that actually means in terms of a lifestyle has been very much a journey, one that I'm also attempting to document. For example, cortisol. Like the way my body responds to cortisol. I didn't know I had PCOS until like my hormone doctor told me. And I have been on a GLP-1 for longer than I've had my actual hormonal diagnosis, which is perimenopause, low thyroid, and low testosterone. I have discussed this in other videos, but just for the sake of this one, if you haven't seen those. But I think the benefit to it is it buys you time to implement those lifestyle changes, whatever you want to do, and it gives you some support in that time. So it's kind of like, it's gonna cover maybe food noise, or it'll cover maybe like random cravings that you can't quite identify why you're having suddenly. You know what I mean? Like for me, at least, I was experiencing like, I could not for the life of me stop gaining weight. And it put the brakes on that. So then that at least let me think through, okay, what's like, how do I gotta get a doctor. I gotta get a doctor that'll actually listen to me, or I need to get this bloat off. Like the first 15 pounds for me were just literal air. Like I was the same size. I mean, there's so much I could talk to you about. I was just so uncomfortable in my own skin. I had gained so much weight and I was so bloated. So it literally just was like 15 pounds of air is what it felt like. I did nothing. I remember the time I was so underwater with life at that time. I definitely did vlog. You can actually go back and I don't know how much you can tell, probably actually not that much because I do a pretty good job hiding it, but I was like completely out of my mind, stressed out, underwater. Everything was at like a 10 for a long time. It's one of those things where because of that phase in my life, the way I look at semaglutide at the beginning, on semaglutide for 24 weeks, of those 24 weeks, 14 of which I was plateaued, I was like literally losing just like the bloat, but at least it felt like, okay, I can't give this my full attention, but at least something's on it. So that's kind of what I mean. I will jump to something else that I think is really important, which is this is advice that I would give people that weren't in the boat that I was in, because I give myself a lot of grace around this because of just the timing of how this happened. If you are struggling to lose, or if you're plateauing, if you mentally can, like I still am grieving, but like, especially when this happened for me, there's no way I was going to do this. Get in the driver's seat and investigate. So like, I really encourage you to like, okay, what else could be going on? Or, you know, can I dial in? Am I getting enough nutrition? Like, am I getting enough of the right stuff? Am I sleeping enough? Am I hydrated enough? Am I moving? Am I whatever? Right? Like, get in the driver's seat as quickly as you can and like be your own advocate, do your own research. Maybe you need to switch. Something I needed to do was switch off of semaglutide to tirzepatide, because we didn't know at the time, but semaglutide wasn't as successful with people in my boat hormonally, meaning like PCOS, perimenopause, that kind of thing. So you need the additional, like, I always forget what it is, but you need the additional like right hook that tirzepatide gives you. Tirzepatide's brand name is Mounjaro. Compounded, the actual active is tirzepatide, for what it's worth. I'll do another video about like what I wish I had known, like for those of you that are newer, because I just know how much has changed since I've been on it. Like, all the information's different, and like how they approach your dosage and ramp up and all that stuff. That's so different now. So that, I feel like, is its own video. I think a really important like lens through which to look at this is wellness, nutrition, 360, taking care of yourself. I know that especially if you're on this, like, you're probably really like, I need to lose weight quickly. I need to get down. I need to do this. You get very numbers focused, especially if you're a woman, because that's how we are. So I think there's a bunch of stuff I would give you in terms of advice, but I'll give you a couple of like tips too that I think are really healthy and non-toxic, especially when it comes to like headspace. So the first thing I would really encourage you to do is don't be afraid of failure. I'm hiding this now because it's broken. Failure or regression. You are more than a number, you are a whole body. I know that sounds hokey though, like, I'm very aware. So the thing I would really encourage you to do is look at what else is going on. Did you sleep well? Are you stiff? Are you moving enough? Are you hydrated, dehydrated? Are you swollen? Did you have, like, you know what I mean? Like, are you stressed out? Like, what else is going on? So just like, I get out of, as much as I love a granular detail, get out of the minutia of that day. Like, it's okay. I think the other thing though, really worth mentioning, is if you're doing this, I'm gonna say for the right reasons, please don't misinterpret that. It is a gift in a way that you're giving yourself to help you rewrite maybe unhealthy narratives in your mind, or it gets you to kind of calm down on things that really aren't good. So I know a lot of people like online that I've seen where it's like, it's a new diet for them and it doesn't actually solve the healthier lifestyle choices. And I mean truly healthy, not like, I kind of call it toxic healthy. Like, I think a lot of the wellness culture is like super toxic. So obviously you're doing this to lose weight, but I think it's really critical that you really take a step back and go, how kind of lifestyle can I create with this, and walk the walk of that. So that's what I mean by you're a body, you're not a number. Like, what else can you be doing? Like, what do you want to read? Like, what hobbies can you create? Like, all that kind of stuff. I think something really, just in terms of like tip, trick, whatever, something you're going to notice pretty much immediately is that you can't eat as much. So one of the great things about this, and that I think is really great from a healthy perspective, like a true healthy perspective, is your approach to like the concept of a cheat meal starts to shift. You like, food stops being a reward. Like, I truly think this, and I mean, again, everybody's different, so your mileage may vary, but like, I'll still get a hankering for sweets or something, but it's like, it is so not the same thing as what I have wanted in the past. I would say 70% of that is not the shots. 70% of that is my headspace around my hormonal health and understanding what things were. But I think the 30% is important because it's that extra kick, right? So it's you just don't crave sweets or whatever. Like, you're just gonna notice it. You just don't crave it as much. Maybe you do, I don't know, everybody's different. But like, I said this before, but like, if I want dessert, I want a bite. Or when I do get dessert, like if you're having a day, I literally, we're really lucky. We've got this soft serve place by us that does like low carb, low sugar. It's like really diabetic friendly. And I've been going there for like 10 years and my dad's diabetic. I always take him. And so I'll go there and that way I don't feel crummy. I say this because like with my hormone health, knowing what I know now, I know I'm actually supposed to be watching my carbs. So this has kind of killed that food noise and those cravings where I can build those healthier habits and those new routines to set myself up for success. And the longer I've been on it, the more like kind of indoctrinated I am in it. And I've built this really like rock solid routine and I just normalized it. So I think if you're approaching this from like, hey, I really need to take control over something, or, you know, what the hell, the boat I was in was like, what the hell's going on with my body, right? I just needed to figure this out and no one was helpful. So this helped me by buying time. And then actually, ultimately, one of the people that work at my clinic, she's who gave me my hormone doctor. So this was like a total gift. Another thing worth mentioning, food. You're gonna notice, I just said this, you're gonna notice you can't eat as much. It's so important that you eat enough protein and fat though. So like really super important that you're eating enough protein. Protein is the currency of health. Protein is your muscle and muscle is the currency of health. So you have to eat your protein. As a woman, I think they tell you the 100 grams is like, you have to have it. And then if you want to go further, you want a gram for every pound you want to weigh. So say you want to weigh 120, you want 120 grams of protein. Something you'll notice though is your appetite. Like you just cannot, like I still am like, man, I just cannot finish this. And it's like a normal portion, right? So snacking is important. So I'm a big believer, like especially lately as I've lost a lot and I don't have the hunger, I don't have the appetite, I don't have any of that. So I am very conscious of like, okay, I need to lower my dosage or I should skip a shot or whatever. Like I'm conscious of like, this is for my health, not a number, right? I need to protect my body. So when it comes to eating, I really recommend you find ways to smuggle it in. I fast for hormonal health. I'll do black coffee, but when I break my fast, I break it the same way every day. I've said this so many times. I'll drink an AG1, which has 2 grams of protein, but then I have a protein coffee, which has 42 grams of protein in it. Smuggle it in, smuggle it in, smuggle it in. Snack wise, if I'm snacky, if I like if it's not very often that I want lunch, but when I do, I aim for fermented foods, protein and fat. And then I have been known to pick at my dinner. So I'll make dinner and I maybe can't finish it, but in maybe 20, 30 minutes, I can have another couple of bites and that way I can get my protein in. I encourage you to reapproach how you eat and the timing of it. One of the nurses that I say, she gave me some good advice with the chomp sticks, like little beef sticks. I think they're like 9 to 10 grams of protein and like 60 calories. So the payoff, like even if you're not that hungry, right? You're like a little bit. That's a great way to get at least like 9 grams of protein in you. And that can get you over the 100 hump, right? Like that's the way I look at it. So if I had my coffee and my jerky, I'm looking at 53 grams right there. So I'm okay. I'm okay with that. And then I can get to dinner. Whatever your version of that is though, like find ways, like pay attention, like be active, pay attention to how you're eating, pay attention to your cravings, pay attention to the timing of your appetite. Is it more snacky? And if so, break your meals up or reapproach it. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, there's a million ways to approach protein, whatever floats your boat. That's a big one that I really wish more people talked about. The other thing I would say, especially too, because there's such like how much did you lose? Like it's like the new Weight Watchers. Everybody's like obsessed with like the weight loss. Take your time. Take your time. And I mean this in a bunch of different ways. One is like yours, 1 to 3 pounds is the standard. That's what they're quoting you. So if you're dropping a pound a week, I know it doesn't feel as fun as 3 or 5 or whatever, but you're doing great. I think the other thing really is that we get so hung up on a number, we don't take into account the toll on the body. And if you're dropping a significant amount of weight every single week, your physical skin will show that loss. So you're gonna risk looking crepey, like a skin, like hell, I've got it where the way I was losing and it kind of came on quick. I didn't have it and then suddenly I had it. And it's in my arms and it's in the tops of my thighs. I have like crepiness. So I'm like, okay, well, I gotta work on muscle. You know, I gotta build it because you gotta fill the skin out. You gotta look good in your skin, or you should, right? So I'm like, okay, well, that's a thing I've got to solve now. But that's also something where I wasn't dropping a ton, but I've dropped enough over time that I'm like, oh, wow, okay. So just worth mentioning. I think something else I would really encourage you is other things like dry brushing, gua sha, lymphatic drainage, saunas, things to help flush toxins out of your body, things to help with your blood flow, get your fat moving, all that kind of stuff. I've noticed a major difference in my body from dry brushing just over the last, a little over a month. I've done it every day. And your, like the way your body holds onto water, especially as women, like cellulite and like you basically get like traffic jams in your body from your lymphatic system. So like as you brush it, you actually help reduce the traffic jam. And over time, there's this cumulative benefit that happens. And you really see like, oh, this is starting to fade. Like, so I hold weight on my arms and I can tell like my arms, my back, my midsection, basically I'm top heavy essentially, and I can tell a massive difference in my body from dry brushing. I do body rolling, like I've got the roller, the wood roller thing. I have that and I do it every day, and I do wash on my face every day. And it's, I mean, it takes like 5 minutes and it's unbelievable the difference. So that has nothing to do with nutrition, but that is something you can do every day to support the overall goal and the way you look and feel in your skin. Super underrated. What I think something else that I feel like a lot of people talk about side effects. So like that's, I mean, depending on what you're going through, there's a ton of stuff. Just advocate for yourself. I'll tell you something I didn't expect. I am down enough weight that I'm officially like every day dressing is hard. So like you'll notice right now, I tend to wear these t-shirts that Jeremy bought like a whole bunch of for me. He bought a whole bunch like, I don't know, last year, and got me a bunch that didn't fit me. Now they do. So I'm in this awkward phase with my own wardrobe where I had bought clothes because I've lost so much weight that like I bought clothes that fit me 15 pounds ago. They don't fit me now. So I'm in this really weird spot where I have some clothes that I never even got a chance to wear. Or like I really, like literally yesterday put on an outfit that I bought at the beach and I still had a tag on it. And I just like ripped the tag off and I put it on, and suddenly I'm like, well, shit. I also, I put on a Skims, like that little mini slip dress that Skims makes. I bought that and just, it like never looked good. And so it became like a goal dress. Like one of these days I'm gonna have lost enough that actually works on me. I wore it yesterday. And I was like, I literally walked out of the closet and I was like, oh my God. I put a thing up on Instagram. I'll post the photo. If this is helpful for you, like whatever your mental health allows you to do, maybe have a goal, an attainable goal. Don't like, if you're like 5'10", don't get yourself an extra small. Like, you know what I mean? Like be realistic to your frame. But I liked having a goal dress because it felt real. I think the other thing is I'm in this awkward phase where dressing is difficult, that like having that goal outfit was actually like, oh my God, that's like an option now for me. I could wear that. I actually have to go through, it'll be a video you see going forward. I have to go through my closet. There's like so much stuff I can't wear anymore. And it's to the point where like my closet kind of scares me because every day is a challenge. But I would encourage you, if you're gonna lose a lot of weight, if you have like a lot to lose, don't buy more than you really need to buy to get you through that phase. Because especially if, like with me, I was plateaued for 14 weeks. I had dropped 20 pounds, like 19 pounds in 10, but it was like all air. No clothing changes at all. I bought clothes I still couldn't even fit into. I was plateaued for 14 weeks, and then I shifted to tirzepatide, and then I started dropping. I have a whole wardrobe of clothing that fit me when I was this weight originally, but now I'm lower than I was. And so it's that thing of like, oh, I bought clothes that kind of bridge that gap. Like when I was around like 30 to 40 down, is that right? About 30 down, I had bought a couple pairs of like nice jeans, and like, you know, because everybody deserves to feel comfortable. You should dress for your body, whatever. But like hindsight, I'm like, God, I can only wear those jeans for like 2 months. And I just kind of wish I hadn't done it. So everybody's different depending on your journey though, but it is something that I kind of had wished I was, you know, like, oh, I wish somebody had told me that. So my advice is like, depending on your body, if you've like maxi dresses, like if you can just do like a one piece or something that you can ride you a while. The way I'm built, I'm like, it's just mainly boobs. So if my boobs can fit in it, I can fit in it. And I really wish I had just got like a couple of like cheap dresses from Amazon and just ridden through the summer on those versus like trying to have like jeans, because like my butt looked weird in them for the longest time because it just stopped filling it out, and then they just kind of look dumpy. Like I know it's so much fun because you're like, oh my God, I can't wear my pants. I gotta get new pants. It's like, yeah, but you're not where you also want to be yet. So, you know, that's just a piece of advice I'd give you. I also think too, it just kind of really sucks. Like, you know, I gotta sell all that stuff because it's still in great shape. And I'm like, I didn't even think that. We went to Vegas, 50 50 pounds ago for me. So I had bought all this stuff for Vegas because I'd never been to Vegas, and I literally have to sell all of it. It just sucks. So, I mean, I think it's like depending, I don't know, whatever, I'll speak for myself. It's part of who I am. I always want to like have an outfit for it, but like, it just kind of sucks. But I also just encourage you, because like you want to incentivize yourself. But I think the thing that I've really learned is maybe, especially if you're still on the journey, and especially as you lose a lot where you're like kind of unsure of what size you're going to be, don't make it a clothing incentive. Like make it something else. You know what I mean? I don't know what you're into, but do that. And I think the other thing I would say is, obviously you need to hydrate, you need to take care of your body nutritionally, but I think the biggest thing is mental. So like one of the best things that this has given me is a type of support that, like I have said in so many of these videos, like go somewhere that really takes care of you, like get on a DEXA scan, get on an InBody scan. But that, like knowing I'm losing the right weight, I'm losing fat, not muscle, I'm protected, I'm hydrated, I'm doing all the things. That sense of like, I've got my own back. Like I know this is healthy. I know I'm making good decisions, and I'm like every day I'm on the right path. And there is like a whole new like vantage point that you have with that. Like you look at your health, you look at your life, you look at your lifestyle. What do I want things to include? I mean, it just shifts everything. And I think that's such a thing that I want to drive home, is there's this could potentially be, right? Like everybody's different, but like it's such a wonderful practice for your headspace to get to know yourself and to know that you're putting things in action. It buys you time to put routines in action that you can then test and go, man, this is really working for me. And then you learn your body in a way that you feel like you're really taking care of it, not just like trying to fit into an outfit. And then when you get down, I have a group chat with some of my friends, and I texted this morning, one of my best friends is built really similar to me, but she's just a little bit taller. And I was like, I need your help with sizing, because you just don't trust it, right? Like I have a 28-inch waist right now. I measured my waist this morning, it was 28 inches. And I was like, my injectionist told me, like, measure your neck, and your neck is like, if you go out to a shop or whatever and you don't want to try anything on, measure your neck, and if the waist is the same as your neck, it'll fit. So like measure the jean, right? And I was like, oh, and she's like, it's like a thing. So I learned that, but you almost don't believe. And so like my neck is 12 and a half. So like I know like a 28-inch waist is actually smaller than that, but because I know what jean size is right now, it's lower. But it was like kind of cool, because I'm like you build a support system with your friends, and like you've done this for yourself. Go slow, take it easy, take care of yourself, make sure you're doing the everyday stuff. Really, I cannot encourage you enough to take this as an opportunity to build healthy habits, to tell yourself you're worth it, especially because you're spending money on this. There's this sort of thing that we do in our minds where, oh my God, I made this investment. So then, okay, well, you made the financial investment, make the time investment, and you're going to get it done, all this kind of stuff. But like, make the mental investment. That is like such an underrated piece of advice, I find. Like nobody talks about this. They talk about how good it feels. And yes, obviously, but like if you are really, oh, this is how I eat, and this is how I wake up, and I am protecting my cortisol, and I'm changing how I work out because I need to respect my body and honor my body with where I am today. And I want to make sure that I'm doing something because that's healthy, and daily movement is healthy. I don't need to go running 5 miles every day. That's not necessarily a good idea, but especially not with my back. But like, can I do yoga? Can I go for a walk? Can I do Pilates? Can I whatever? Right? Like whatever your things are. Those things become ingrained in you as daily habits. And then you've built upon that. And then you've built an everyday life that really, you feel, it's like, this is my point, like you feel like you've made a completely different kind of investment in yourself, and you're so much better off for it. And I think this is so underrated. It's like you ascend to this different vantage point where you just see so much clearer. And it's like, God, what, and I was saying this to Jeremy this morning, I was like, the toxicity of the wellness culture, where it's like, oh, I can fix that with this daily supplement or whatever. And it's like, it is so much more than that. It's so much more than that. And I think the thing that's so great about these, if you do them right, to see a bunch of people doing the shit wrong, that makes me mad, but whatever. It gives you a chance to reclaim your health, and it gives you a chance to rewrite what your healthy life looks like. And it's just like the best. So like that's I think the biggest takeaway for you is just like, don't get so focused on the numbers and on the loss that you miss out on the bigger lesson and the bigger benefit of it. And then, you know, the side benefit is like, God, I've never been this little. You know, I was like, the smallest I've ever been that I've maintained is like 4 pounds bigger than this. So it's not like that big of a difference, but I'm at the size where I can see a major difference in me with those 4 pounds, but also with the dry brushing and the rolling. Don't sleep on that. That thing is great. So yeah, this is becoming a very long video. So I'm going to stop talking now, but I hope this was helpful. I know it's not as simple as like, you know, drink your, it's so easy to say like, make sure you're hydrated, drink your water, find a way to drink water, like whatever you like, whatever you need to infuse it in, whatever, just get your water in it. Herbal tea, put fruit in it, I don't care, get your water in you. Same thing with protein, eat protein. Like there's a billion protein options out there. Like find ways to fit it in that you don't hate, that you can find joy in, find the hacks that work for you. That's a whole platform on the internet. But it's like every manifestation thing you've ever read. Like start living the life that you want to live now. Show up as that person now. Do that for your health. It's awesome. Like really, it's awesome. Again, I'll leave everything below. I'll tag all the videos. If you're interested in hormonal health stuff, as I wrap up on this, I will be doing much more content about hormonal health, about the daily, weekly, and monthly things that change, documenting my fasting schedule, documenting what I'm on, how I'm living, what's working, what's not, what's changing, all of that stuff. That's gonna become much more consistent content on my channel because honestly, because I'm dialing it in, especially as I'm getting a lot of this weight off. That was like my number one priority. But I plan on doing a lot of that. So if you are somebody in that hormonal boat, feel free to stick around. There's gonna be, this is just like the future. This is gonna be forever. 50% of the population spends 50% of their life in some stage of menopause. And the more I learn, the more baffled I am by how little the average woman knows about their own body, and how much I didn't know is crazy to me. But yeah, so again, I'm just blabbing at this point. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any other tips, tricks, advice, whatever worked for you, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you've got questions for me, whatevs, hopefully positive things, leave them in the comments below. I'm quick to answer. I've got all my things turned on. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Have a great day. See you later.